Why are you changing color, Brett?
I'm trying to find a good color.
Like you're at a fucking rave concert. You had a curse in 15 seconds.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, we still on the roll?
I know. Did they change that?
I don't know.
Of course, it's Memorial Day. I'm letting out F bombs within 10 seconds.
Just edit it late start.
We don't edit stuff here. It doesn't
Just
work.
put the ooh sound over it.
The ooga.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas?
Hi.
Hi. You I see all the time. Brett, we haven't done a podcast in like 2 years.
It's been a minute for sure.
It's been a fucking long time.
Been a real minute.
And me, you and Nick have done a couple together. So,
Yeah.
but I don't think we've done one, and it's got to be over a year and a half. Easy.
Oh,
Easily.
So, but before we get started and talk about Nick's bad decision making, let's talk about.
First off, that was great decision making.
Listen, we'll talk about your fucking impulsiveness after we talk about fucking.
Oh, a new car.
Yeah, the new baby supersedes the fucking new car. Okay, so you and your little red eye could hold on with your fucking little red balloon knot. So, Brett, talk to me. You're a dad. Yeah, there's got to be a lot to tell. I want to hear.
It's crazy.
I was never blessed to be a dad. Always wanted to. So I'm like eager to know, man. Talk to me.
I'm shocked. I'm looking at the screen and I'm the only dad. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
They got to be the first one out of this group.
Yeah. That we know of.
Yeah.
No, man. I mean, pretty amazing, dude. Pretty amazing experience. I mean, you hear that, right? Like everyone says it's like life changing, right? It's like, your life will change forever. It's the most memorable thing they ever had. And like, I'm like, I don't get too excited about things because I don't want to, I'm someone that when people talk something up, I don't want to look too much into it because then it's not as, when it does happen, it's not as amazing or, the experience isn't what it is. So
or you're not let down.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not let down. But man, I mean, I'm telling you, like I was fortunate enough to right before we were about to start, the doctor was like, "Do you want to deliver? You want to deliver?" And I was just like stunned. I was like, "Oh, that's an option!" Like, and I did it. I absolutely did it. I was with my catcher mitt on, ready. You caught that thing coming out.
Really?
Yes, they let you do it if you want. So they just watch you do it, and I'm sitting there, and it happened so fast because like. And this is maybe even for the female listeners out there. Like, so Ivana, like she trained, all the way up until the baby, she was going 4 or 5 times a week, lightweight and stuff. But what she did a lot of was like plyometric and still squats and things like that. And what that translated to, I truly believe this is like from the time, like, obviously we are there for probably 16 hours before the process started because of like contractions and she wasn't feeling good, but once they said start to push, dude, it took 8 minutes. She like 8 minutes that baby came out. And that was just like, it was like 4 pushes. She was like, it just started coming. And it was just like, but that comes to show you like, core strength, being able to push, almost like squat through the ground kind of shit, you know what I mean? And it really did work. They were like, we never see this. Like it has to deal with, some kind of athleticism or something, because usually it's like 30 minutes to even 4 hours is the pushing process.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there. They weren't even ready. Like I was the only one ready. I was like, I think she's coming. I think she's coming.
That's crazy, dude. I don't know. Like, I've thought about if I ever had a kid, would I be able to? I don't know if I'd be able to watch, man. I don't know. And I know this sounds bad. I don't know if I want to. Everybody's like, oh, it's the gift of life. I get it. Don't chastise me. To me, that's like an entrance, not an exit. And I just, it's hard to wrap my head around. I don't know.
Yeah, I think people have different view. I mean, obviously for you, it's not so much like the gory thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you kill deer all the time. You skin them. It's not so much the process.
No,
it's just the exit strategy. I don't know. It was a pretty amazing experience to kind of see and then actually catch the baby and like see the baby's eyes.
What's the catcher's mitt? You said you had a catcher's mitt.
No, I didn't obviously have a real catcher's
mitt. But do they give you something that they call a catcher's mitt? Like
no.
Okay.
I was making a catcher reference there.
I didn't know if you had to like put on one of those things like the horse, like when you're fucking like the horses, the long plastic fucking sleeves that they
Yeah,
put on.
well, I mean, obviously had rubber gloves on, but no, I just grabbed the head and then guided the rest of it.
Really?
Wow, that's fucking wild, bro.
It was wild. And
Did they get out? Was somebody filming it and shit? Like, don't they film it and everything?
They don't allow video, but yeah, we had to take a bunch of pictures. So it's all on pictures of me having the baby.
Awesome.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, for us.
It's really awesome.
So tell everybody, people that don't watch, name, weight, when was the birthday? Because it was recent.
Yeah, so it ended up happening on today is Monday. It happened this past Wednesday. She was 7 pounds, 13 ounces and 21 inches long. Her name is Miliana Mara Wilkin. And so we're going to call her Millie for short. So just, kind of respect to, if you don't know, my wife is of, Eastern European descent. So that's a very common, name, especially at the end, the Anna, A-N-A. So just, paying tribute to that. And it's a beautiful name. And dude, she's been absolutely awesome. All she does is eats. I mean, Ivana's just mad because she looks like me, and like all her mannerisms like me. Just eats, sleeps, poops, and that's it. that's
bodybuilding lifestyle.
Chills, just sits in my arms and just sits there and looks at you and doesn't cry. So it's been beautiful experience.
That's awesome.
Now, how is it to have like daddy's little girl?
So funny stories. The last night, she, you guys know Ivana, how intense she is. So she's like mom mode, like crazy right now, which is awesome. But she put the baby in the bassinet, and she's like, okay. And I was getting the bag. It's not like I'm just still trying to get caught up on sleep. And she thought I was just gonna pass out. She's like, okay, I'm gonna leave her here. I'm gonna go clean up the kitchen. And so when she came back, so she went and cleaned up the kitchen, and I could hear the baby, and I was like, making the coos. And it just like melts your heart, bro. Like it just melts you. So I get her out of the bassinet and just put her on the bed with me. And like she's like sleeping next to me, and like I'm like falling asleep. And Ivana walks in, she's like wants to get mad because like I moved her, because she's in mom mode, like you weren't supposed to move. But then like it just melted her and she couldn't do anything about it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just like it's very hard to describe, man. It's just like wow. Just when you see, we get puppies and stuff. We think it's so fun and cute and stuff like that. But it's just like take a puppy times 10, it's incredible.
How's the pup taken to her?
He's been pretty good.
How's Roscoe? How's he doing? A little nut.
We did a good job of, I came like the night that she was born, I came home and brought the blanket with me and stuff. And like, he knew right away, like he sniffed it for like half an hour and like laid on it and stuff. So he knew something was up. And then when we brought him home, he just like kind of like, at first he was like, just kind of stood there and barked at her, just barked. And then warmed up, and they're awesome now. He gives her run by kisses, so like run by and like lick her real quick, keep going and stuff like that. And well, we'll see though. We'll see how that proceeds, because we've had people here to kind of keep him busy. And he's such a Ivana boy, so we'll see if there's some jealousy at some point.
So was that planned?
The plan was, and I know Nick knows this. The plan was.
Yeah, I don't think I ever asked you.
No, the reason I did those shows in the year last year, so the reason I went over to Romania and Spain was because I wanted to obviously try to qualify for last year's Olympia, and then mainly was to qualify for this year's Olympia and then have the whole year off. Because what the plan was, because honestly, I wasn't going to compete last year at all. I was just going to go all the way through the year and then just start doing these shows that are going on right now. But I taught, it just hit me, man. I'm like, 34, 33 years old. If we're gonna do this, I want to, really look into this. So I was like, I just like text Matt, my coach, and I was just like, hey man, like I know we weren't gonna compete this year, but I really want to start out 2023, like that off season part. I want to, I'll probably go off of everything, get on HCG, HMG, whatever I need to do. We're gonna try to get Ivana pregnant, or at least. If it doesn't work at the time, I at least want to freeze my sperm. Like that was in my head, because I don't want to get to it was in my head that I didn't want to get to a point where I can't have kids. Right. I know if, I continue to climb the ranks here, do well and stuff, that like, I'll have to compete more, just more years of gear and things like that. And I don't want to get to a point where, there are bodybuilders that can't, they're not fertile anymore. So I was honestly going to just freeze my sperm. And then like that way, that thought was out of my head. Right. So I wouldn't have to worry about that again. I'd always be like, hey, we got that in the bank. If if a couple of years you finally want to do this and I can't do it anymore. Like, so that's why we decided, hey, I'm going to start prep, compete at these shows. Then January of 2023, we'll start, I'll start doing the process to either save or, have a baby. 6 weeks into prep was when she started feeling funny and then went home. She actually went back to, where we're from. And she's like, yeah, I just feel weird. And then like, I didn't think about anything of it. And then she came back like 5 days later, and that's when she surprised me. So it was like, literally got her pregnant. You backtrack it to the period or whatever, but literally got her pregnant the first week of prep is when prep started at the end. So
I remember.
Yeah. So kind of fast forwarded everything. So then I didn't, we didn't have to, that wasn't the plan for right now. And now we, can keep preparing for the rest of the year ahead.
That's awesome, dude. So, will she make an appearance at the Olympia?
Oh yeah. You'll see her there.
Yeah. Huh?
She's already got her outfits and everything ready.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, it worked out so good. I mean, I'd prefer if the Olympia was in Vegas, obviously, but it's only an hour and a half for me right now. So
I mean, what do you? I mean, so you said you prefer Vegas, Nick. What do you? Because I've done both venues. I prefer it in Vegas. I mean, that's where it's like home, right?
I like Vegas.
Yeah, so do I. Vegas is like the shit. It's like where the Olympia is like home to me,
Well, now that I've done both in Florida and Vegas, I prefer Vegas.
Yeah. Yep.
Convenience wise, it might be a little bit better in Orlando just because everything's centered right there, I
mean, everything's pretty local in Vegas. It's not hard to get to anything.
Well, the thing is, it would have been different this year because they weren't going to go back to the Planet Hollywood. Like it would have been bouncing around, so we don't know what it would be like.
That's true. Yeah.
What I heard from last year, I mean, I wasn't there. Nick can touch on this, but I heard the back, the back setup wasn't that great. Yeah, it wasn't that great this past Olympia.
It wasn't that great at all. No.
You were also you did the Olympia in Orlando last time, and how was that?
Huge.
I didn't think it was much bigger, to be honest.
The 2020.
It would have been
2021.
Oh, I didn't do that one. 20, I did. 20 was big.
It was much bigger, to be honest.
20
Where was 20? Was it the same place?
I don't know. 20 was backstage.
Actually, I don't think. I think it was a different place.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's convenient either way. It's got a different feel to it when it's in Vegas for me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because that's where it's always been, right? Like,
yeah, and you kind of have I have my routine. Like, obviously, I'm not competing anymore, so people are like, what does it fucking matter? But like, when I used to land, I used to go to certain food stores and train to certain gyms and stop at Teriyaki Boy and go here. Like in fucking Orlando, it's where the fuck do you go? It's like it ain't like that,
Well,
you don't have those.
It's an extravaganza, man. It's an event. You go out there for the shows, right? It's showtime.
Yeah.
Like you got the busy city, you got stuff to do after, not saying Atlanta's not like that, but it's more of like, kids in theme parks themed, around that. So it's just Vegas just had their feel. You go out there and it's like, hey, this is like a UFC event. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's why people go out. And that's why I think that's why I can't speak for anybody that runs the Olympia. I don't know the numbers, but I think a lot of people go to the Olympia because it's like two birds with one stone, right? They could go to Vegas and fucking go to their favorite bodybuilding show. Yes. We're like, who's going to go to Orlando and to party?
I mean, I'll go to Disney after. It's okay.
Oh, that's cute.
I mean, I think that's our plans.
I like Disney,
That's everybody's freaking plan. Speaking of liking things, Nick. So we went from having one car to two cars in a truck to two cars.
Yep.
How did we get here?
Well, okay, so I've been wanting to trade in the Corvette for a while, because it's like it was nice, but I started to hurt my knee trying to get in and out of it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, and it kind of just sat in the garage. So I'm like, I don't want to pay something that I'm not going to.
I'm not cutting you off, but I want to, now, any of these vehicles paid off? Were they financed, leased?
All financed.
Okay. So nothing was paid. Okay.
Yeah, no. So when I got there, so after I've been debating getting rid of it very soon. I'm like, I know what I want, but I'm like, I don't know. So then I just saw the new Fast and the Furious. I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's like a fucking child, Brett. It's like
Well,
having a
hey,
fucking.
if you can do it, do it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. So I was like,
He didn't even know he didn't even know the horsepower to his engine.
no, and one of the scenes, like he's just epically driving the Challenger. And I'm like, I'm sold. That's it. So it was like 2 days later. I just remember I looked at Marie and I said, I think it's time. I want to trade the Corvette in. She's like, well, yeah, I know you've been talking about it. She's like, you want to like to go tomorrow? I'm like, no, like now. Like, let's go now. So she's like, really? So the dealership, it closed on 9:30. So it was like 5:30 at the time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna shower, I'm gonna eat, and then we'll leave. So she was like, all right. So we left. And the plan was
you just can't, man. You just when you want, you just
I'm ready. So then, but she even got into it. So we get to the dealership, and the girl's like, so what are you guys looking for? And Maria just chimes right in. She's like, well, he wants to trade his Corvette in. And, do you guys have Hellcats here? And then she's like, oh, well, yeah, we got a couple. So then she shows me this blue Hellcat red eye. And I'm like, pull it up. So she drives it. You can hear that shit coming from around the block. And I'm like, oh my God. So what are you doing?
I'm going to pull up your fucking thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that all right?
So she let us drive it around. And I'm like, I'm sold, man. This is the one.
What year is it?
2022.
All I've seen is your story of it, and that was that. I love the blue. I don't think I've ever seen a blue one like
It's
that.
awesome, right?
Is it Challenger?
Yeah.
And those things, man, they just squeal like that shriek. Oof.
Oh, it's badass.
I remember when Jansen had one, and when he
What color is yours?
Blue.
Oh, I don't even know if you're gonna find one that looks like his. Honestly,
Yeah, mine's not like the average.
Custom.
Yours is like more like
It's got a black hood too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
This one is it? This one?
No, because
No.
it doesn't have white stripes on the top.
There.
This one?
Kind of. Different blue though.
You know the color blue? This thing's fucking tits.
You see this?
No, because it's fucking higher. Go higher with the phone. Yeah, that's almost like is that like a matte black? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
is it like
Oh,
this?
that might be like that. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, it's just a darker blue. It's like more of the blue next to it.
This is SRT.
Wait, is it 4-door though?
No.
Oh no.
I want to see the red eye.
Did you get
Is it 20?
keys? Did you get 2 sets of keys with it?
Three. They gave me 3.
So there's like a red eye one, and then like
I don't even know.
well, I think one has like higher horsepower when you use it.
Really?
This is like yours?
No, not the
No, that's like an old school one.
I know. This is fucking badass.
That is awesome though. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
No, that thing's fucking look at that. So yours, okay, here we go. Hellcat. I want to see the interior since you didn't show it. What color's the interior?
It's black and blue.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are your neighbors mad
There
at
we
you?
go.
No, not yet, luckily.
Why do they call it the red eye? That's what I didn't know. I asked you, right?
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest. Let me Google.
No, it's just a modification. It's more powerful.
That's
yeah,
what
I just didn't know. Here we go. Here we go. Do you have a bigger screen of that size?
It's not that size, yeah.
Is it suede
Leather.
seats? All leather?
Yeah.
They're comfy too, those seats, aren't they?
Very. A lot better than Corvette.
Yeah.
How big is the
I
fucking
was wondering how you're doing that Corvette. I know how low that shit is and tight.
Very.
that trunk's huge on it, ain't it?
Yes.
Fucking fit body in there. No problems. Are you a car guy?
Me,
Brett? Yeah.
not huge, no.
No. You drive
I would
whatever,
like
doesn't
I would
matter.
like a nice Hellcat like that someday. but-
Okay, I know why it's called a red eye.
Why?
It says it features a larger 2.7 liter twin screw supercharger that pumps out 14.5 psi to produce 807 horsepower.
So that's fat. So that's got 100. So your red eye's got 100 more horsepower than my truck.
Yeah.
My truck's got 702. You got 807.
Yeah.
Okay, it's crazy. That thing's wild.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Have you opened it up a little bit yet?
A little bit, yeah. I get nervous because I don't want to get pulled over, but yeah.
You got to be careful though with that engine. They say you got to ease up the first 1,000 and then get the oil change. Then you can beat on it. That's what I was telling him. He ain't gonna listen. He's gonna blow it up and then be like,
No, I'm good, bro. That doesn't go over 70.
I don't fucking
so.
buy that worth of shit.
With
What does that
rain.
speedometer go? My speedometer only goes up to 120 on my truck.
Really?
Question, I didn't even look.
Yep, it sucks. The truck.
That truck only goes to 120?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking like 7 tons. It's fucking heavy as shit.
That's a good question. I should go look.
Well, you know, your car is nowhere near us. Your car just with the horsepower alone would blow my truck away. Kidding me? And
I'm blowing
that's
away.
why you're blowing what?
I'm blowing everyone away.
You're blowing everyone?
Yep. That's
So-
all right.
So you're both getting ready for the same show.
Olympia, yeah.
So when you guys start dieting around the same time, Nick, you start like 20 weeks out, right?
I like to, yeah.
When are you gonna start? You're gonna start what, like August?
August, no, probably like July.
It'd be in.
What about you, Brett?
I'm gonna start. I mean, I'm just gonna be bored of that by the time it gets to July. So I'm definitely gonna start in July. It might just be very, very gradual. I mean, you know, I'm someone that can get my thing. Getting peeled isn't the problem. It's holding the weight in the off season, being uncomfortable for so long. So,
Bro, how do you feel? I gotta know.
well, right now I don't feel bad because I lost 12 pounds last week just being in the hospital for 3 days. I mean, I went from like I was waking up at like 283, 284 down to like 270 in like fucking 6 days, bro. That's what happened. I mean, just not being on the schedule, you know. So
Yeah.
now, I mean, I was feeling a little, you know, definitely feeling a little uncomfortable, but I'm glad I kind of had this little break because, you know, I was pushing so hard there for a while. So this was a good little.
Did you not train this week though?
No, I took 7 days off, but I planned this. Like I was like gonna push until the week of the baby. I'm gonna take that whole week off, kind of because I was dealing with some, you know, my knees, my elbows.
Yeah, no, smart, very smart.
So took the whole week off, and now my body feels good. So then I went back to the gym today, first time, and so now I'm gonna start doing another push into July, and then just start going down from there.
Okay, yeah.
What are you still doing? Like some like, I remember back in the day, weren't you doing like kind of like clean and dirty like bulks? Like you did like clean food, and you had like that dirty shake with like the Hershey syrup and all that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I still have to do that shit just to keep the calories high. You know what I mean?
So you're still doing that. So what's that shake consist of?
I mean, it's not really that dirty. I mean, so, you know, my first meal one, you know, I'm not hungry in the morning. I never really am, even after I do cardio and stuff. So I do a shake in the morning. I'll do like 130 grams of quick oats, like 150 grams of blueberries, like 35 grams of almond butter, protein powder, water, and then like literally just a couple of squirts of chocolate just to give it a little bit more taste. So, you know, if you just eat that, I could eat it as well. It's just going to take a lot of that. That's a shit ton of oats and blueberries, you know what I mean? So It's easier just to make a shake for me. And then the rest of the day, it's whole foods now. So it's been a little bit better that way.
You do higher protein or higher carbs? Like when I was in my off season, I always did like a higher carb over a higher protein. Like Jay always said, nobody ever got big off protein shakes. Like me, like nobody ever got big just off like eating like high protein. So my carbohydrates are always higher.
Yeah, I've never been anyone that's gone higher than like 8 ounces of a protein or of meats is the highest I'll go. You know what I mean? I've never tried 9, 10, 11, just because like my body starts rejecting just the protein part of it. So what I'll adjust is always in the off season is protein usually stays the same as prep. And then I'll just adjust carbs and fats, just increase those more so carbs.
Now, do you do like Nick has like a scheduled cheat meal? Do you do cheat meals, cheat days? Or
I've never done the cheat day thing just because like I'm at a point where we have to be an eater. I eat enough to get the meal plan in, but I don't like to do much. I would prefer not to do more than that, you know? So I can't just be somebody that eats like 15,000 calories a day. I would hate that. So what I do is like, I'll end up having like right now, like 3 or 4 cheats a week. So I just do them on like my legs days or my back day. And that's usually like, you know, I'll just get 5 guys or we'll go out to eat, you know, some Mexican or something. So he, you know, Matt has that scheduled. It's just, I got to get a caloric surplus just to keep the weight on. You know, you got to think, man, like naturally I'm the same size as you guy. Like we would probably be like, if we both just kind of stopped doing anything, we would be 180 pounds, both of us just there, right? So that's what I would be. But what I do is I get to use the food to force myself my weight up and to maintain here, you know. So
I can't believe how much I've seen you eat. That's
insane.
You could say that's why I wasn't maybe a better bodybuilder, but I just never was able to force feed like that. Like there were times where I got sick. There were times where like I would sit there and like do like to chew the food and swallow it and like swallow liquid to get it down. There were times I tried. Remember, what is it called? Is it what was it? There was it was an allergy med.
Benadryl.
No, it was an allergy med that increased your appetite. Kai Green told me about it years ago, and I got it. I tried everything. I tried what is it? GHRP6 was a peptide. It was supposed to help you for appetite. I tried everything to get my appetite just never ever kicked into gear. Like I never could get like I topped out at 240, and that was 242 was the heaviest I've ever got, and that was fucking shoveling food, like full going to bed and full waking up in the morning, miserable. You know,
definitely some miserable moments that there has been in the past.
You know, did you guys ever do a hunter and like blend your chicken and fucking?
I did. I had that a little bit initially when I was putting that first, you know, weight that stuck on. I did the chicken shit. I never like put rice or anything in it, but I would do just to get the chicken and chicken broth, mix it and just plug my nose and chug it down. But I was only like once a day, and it only lasted like 3 months.
Dude. Is it gross?
Oh God.
I mean, it was a mental thing. I mean, of course,
you use chicken broth, so like did that?
Yeah. So I mean, like it would have kind of a chicken soup taste, I guess. But you're sitting there drinking chicken, man. So it's just
because Martin uses like Crystal Light. I'm like, that's
I didn't know that. He used to do orange juice.
He puts that Crystal Light shit in there.
Imagine fruity. Is that Ivana?
Yeah.
Hi, Ivana.
Hi.
Ivana.
Mama.
Is that the little one?
Now you already saying that. Big stage.
Come here. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi guys.
Amelie. Look at her.
Why did she look like Brett?
Are you hating?
We definitely know he's the dad.
Why are you hating? You're married. You're married to a very handsome fella.
I did all of her.
You did 8 minutes. 8 minutes of work. Don't we already know?
I gave
8 minutes is nothing. That's not even like a hard session.
I gave him all the details on how it looked.
Dude, he straight up caught the baby. Like
catcher's mitt, he said.
Catcher's mitt.
Well, yeah, she's just an eater and sleeper. She's a great kid. So if you guys want kids,
look at her. She's a little peanut. How are you doing?
This is Ari. Say hi, Ari.
Hi, Ari.
This is Millie's cousin.
This is exactly what we need on the podcast.
You have a new cousin? Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ivana, how you feeling?
Amazing.
Tired?
I've lost about 16 pounds in the last 4 days.
Guy, you should see the jugs on her right now. they tripled in size, man.
You have to pump.
Breastfeeding will seriously make you lose crazy amounts of
Do
weight.
you have to
60
pump?
pounds down. I gained a total of
Oh,
28
yeah.
pounds.
She's I look over, I can just hear it. Just
The brant.
Turn that down. I'm trying to watch the TV.
Whatever. He loves them. And guess what? It's saving a lot of money. So he better be happy.
Yeah, and you can sell that stuff too or donate it. It's got a lot of colostrum in it, Brett.
Brett's already been considering just putting it.
Brett's making shakes with it already.
Think of her genetics. Remember, like
There you go.
something. We can
Ivana, sign the bottles and be like Ivana Wilkin Brett's milk. Here you go. Sign up.
We're on to something here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I have big titties right now.
Well,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Moral of the story.
That's one day somebody's gonna be like, that's my mom.
All right.
Look back on that one.
That's my mama.
Brett, you and I have trained a couple times together, but we never really talk about like me and you never talk about like style or like our view on training. We just would train. Like, do you follow like a certain, I know like you kind of were a fan of John Meadows. I know Ivana worked closely with John. Is there like some sort of methodology you follow with your training? Like Nick it was back and forth. Like, he had his little, where we slow and control time under tension. Now he's getting more to like a grip and rip and starting to handle a little heavier weight. Is there like a methodology you follow or followed, or one that you like better then versus now? Like, cause obviously I changed drastically with mine. But I didn't know with like, as time progression, if you change like how you train, or if there's like a certain style format that you follow, like push pull legs, or is it the bro split, pro split?
I would think, first off, I gotta say, like, it all started from John Meadows. That's where I learned the base, and that's kind of built everything I've done over the years, especially with my own philosophies and everything. Just because, like, remember training with him, and like he kept it, this, like it was intense and the training sessions were awesome, but he kept it fun, right? Like it wasn't just always the same. Well, he did a lot of like, what I picked up the most from him was like in the sessions, like when you're training, you're hitting every angles, right? So especially with like back. So remember, I'm like, hey, we're doing this exercise to hit upper back. We're doing this exercise to get lower lats. We're getting this one to get width, or, like thickness. So everything he did, like it had a purpose. And then the setup of the setup of exercise selection, and like, starting here because that's a weaker point, and then going from there, working and then finishing with rack pulls just because it's hard of a good finisher. So a lot of, what I've always done is kind of just built from that. And then just the, what I learned from him, and then following some of his programs. And it's, I've never really strayed from that path, man. Like, the thing is, like we say, Nick's kind of changed. And maybe he's like sped up his reps and stuff, but it's still been like, he's worked up to like 2 all out sets. We've never, I've never been someone that's doing like 4 sets of 15, move on to the exercise. It's like you got a couple warm ups, and then you're, intensity's 110%. I know you're the same way, because that shit works. You need to put those stressors on your body. You need to put those stressors on the muscle. And if you're able to do, like I said, four sets per exercise, and those are what you're calling real sets, then that's not enough stress, right? Or you wouldn't be able to finish the workout. You would be done after that. So, it comes down to, right, like I still believe in building up to an all out set where it's like, you're pushing very heavy weight with control, though. That's one thing that I've gotten better with. I think that's just something that everybody progresses through. Looking back on videos when I was, first getting into it and starting, like I was going way too heavy. I was just all about, intensity, move it, but now it's more the same thing, but it's like, okay, now I'm instead of keeping it in my quads 50% of the time, now it's like, I'm trying to keep it in there 90 to 100% of the time. So, and then, we're reaching a point too, all of us is, we also got to look at, injury prevention as well, not being an idiot, keeping the weight at the point so we can continue to do this week to week. Because, that's an easy way to shut down the career fast now, is we're not Superman anymore. Right. So it's like,
how old are you now, Brett?
34 now.
I mean, you're still kind of young, man.
Yeah. Especially with the bodybuilding side of things, I went pro at 29, so that was 5 years ago, and really didn't really buy in, started at 28. So body's younger and stuff, but just I want to still be able to get the most out of these next few years.
Oh yeah.
I remember when I met you, I think were you classic or physique when I met you in Australia? It was in Australia, I think.
Yeah, it was classic. I want to see that picture. I found it the other day.
Yeah, I was that's when I was actually looking at Luke in the corner in the back right.
Yeah. So we were
Yeah,
at
right.
Doherty's gym. I just knew of you, so I had to get a picture with you. And you were just the same guy. Looking back at you, the same guy. Just like you were just too busy, a little stressed out. And they're like, yeah, I'll take a picture with you. And then taking, and you're just fucking.
I was a dick. I was a dick.
No, not a dick. You're just the same guy. Just busy.
Just zing, zing, zing.
Just zing, zing, zing. All something going on. Yeah, and then I remember I was standing there and watching you in pose with Luke. I was like, damn, because Luke, I don't remember if that was one of his better showings or not, but at the time it was very, very impressive.
I remember in that gym, in that lighting, he looked crazy.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. Like where it was in the corner like that, and first big dude. Back then I was 200 pounds, right? So I was like, that was a sight to see.
Yeah, that was like the one time in my life I was bigger than you.
Didn't last very long.
No, after that, yeah, it was like you fucking blew up. Crazy. Nick, how do you say you're a fan and then you become like bigger than me winning open show? I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You're a classic guy. Stay in yours.
I'm always a fan, guy. I'm always a fan.
You don't have a choice.
Fuck you.
Well, that's not nice.
We're friends. We're no longer fans. We're friends.
Well, by default.
You just watch Fast and the Furious. You gotta tell him he's family, man.
Yeah, we're family.
Family.
Never turn your back on family.
Who are you, fucking Vin Diesel? Is Vin Diesel?
Bro, I was gonna shave my head bald.
Stop it! You were not. Fucking lying, Ashton. Absolutely not.
Wait, I've done it, and I think I look okay bald.
Huh?
I look okay bald.
You never shaved it bald.
Yeah, I was pretty bald, bro.
No, you buzzed it, but it wasn't big. You shaved it with a fucking Bic razor.
No, he went one guard.
One guard?
Well, no guard. I mean, he went with no guard. He just didn't use the razor.
You look good. Listen, I paid a lot of money to get my hair back. Okay. You keep that nice fucking head of hair and you shut your mouth.
How is your hair doing?
Yeah, let's see it. Show us your hair.
Well, it's because the reason why is because just so everybody knows, when you get hair implants, right? They take the hair from the back of your head. The reason why they take it from the back of your head is because the back of your head is those follicles actually block DHT. So the follicles they implant into your scalp actually will not fall out. They're there for pretty much life. Okay. But what happens is they implant the follicle and then that follicle starts to grow. But in the process of growing, it sets another, like, I guess you'd call it seed or follicle in the head. And then that first hair actually sheds and then the new follicle starts to grow underneath. So it goes from like full to patchy to full again. So I'm in like the middle stage before it.
Okay, well, let's see it.
Shut up, Nick. Rush me.
So you paid this money just to go bald again?
No, you don't go bald. What are you talking about?
I was just kidding.
Let's see it. Come on.
I'm fucking scratching tables right now. See how it's starting to go patchy again?
Yeah.
And then what happens is, see, like if you look, there's old follicles here, but all this, then you start falling. Like there was nothing here. I had nothing here, and I had nothing here.
So that's all going to grow in now.
Yeah, they said you'll fully tell like after a year, but they said after about the 6-month mark is when you'll really see like an all-out difference. So it's only been 2 months. So I'm like still in the beginning stages of this shit.
Now, do you have to do it again or no?
No, they said this should be like pretty much good. They said maybe like down the line, maybe you might want to do like a touch up.
But it's a one-time treatment.
Yeah, you don't have to like go back. It's not like getting laser hair where you got to go back over.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I don't think I would do a full treatment all over again. Like that was a lot to go through. And
that was my question. I was like, are you willing to do it?
Didn't I send you the videos, Brett?
Oh yeah, I saw them.
I know I said Nick then.
It's fucking gross.
You scared me away from ever doing it.
I chewed yeah. I don't understand how you guys have fucking perfect hair, no calcium score. Here I am fucking losing hair, calcium score through the roof.
Well, we got to thank our mamas for that. Mama
genetics. Yeah, we got genetics.
No, believe it or not, my dad has the high calcium score, not my mom.
Really?
Yeah. They both got checked after me.
Really?
That's what I thought. What you thought too. I thought my mom was going to be the one with the higher calcium score. She actually is not.
Guy, how high was yours?
So, for those that don't know anything about calcium, let me explain. The soft plaque, okay, is what you want to avoid. Okay. So when somebody gets their heart scanned for calcium, they are checking the hard plaque, okay, in the walls of the arteries. Now, if you take a statin hardens the soft plaque around the artery. So if you have a high calcium score like I did originally, my calcium score total was, I think, 494. And then I was on 10 mgs of Crestor, 10 mgs of Crestor and 10 mgs of Zetia. And I was on that for 2.5 years, and then got tested again. My calcium score went up to 695. Now, that is only because when you take a statin hardens the soft plaque. So once it hardens the soft plaque, that's what's measured. So my doctor said that was common. Now, for example, my buddy, who I'm not going to say, he had a calcium score back when I got my he was actually the one that made me get my calcium score done, because after Dallas McCarver passed away, he freaked out. He got all these blood tests and heart tests, and he got a calcium score, and he was pushing me to get it. And his calcium score was 395. So I got my calcium score done, and my calcium score was 494. Well, 3 years later, he got his calcium score done. His calcium score was over 1200.
Oh my God.
Now he lost like 40 pounds prior to this, changed his entire diet, doesn't eat any sweetener, went all organic, intermittent fast, runs fucking marathons every fucking day, like weight trains every day. And his calcium score went up like times fucking 10, which is insane.
Went up?
So when his calcium score went from 395 to over 1200.
Oh, wow. After he did that shit.
After he lost all the weight, after he fucking changed his whole life. Yeah. So it's so crazy how the calcium scores go up and down based on who it's all genetic. Cause I asked my doctor flat out. I'm like, Doc, listen, like, is there anything that I'm taking that's causing the calcium to possibly, like, this to happen, like with bodybuilding drugs? And he goes, no. He goes, it's genetic. And the reason.
So are you telling me calcium score has nothing to do with bodybuilding?
Per my doctor, I said, do you think there's anything that I took bodybuilding wise that affected my calcium score? He said, no.
Really?
Yeah. And I went to 2 different doctors. Now, the reason why you guys might not know this either is calcium score is not covered under insurance, because it's not a very fucking well-known test, because there's not a lot of research done, because it's a newer test and they don't know a lot about it, which is why, if you think about it, your artery, Brett, like if you take a straw, right? Like if you take a straw and hold it upright like this and fill it with water, it's eventually going to fill up with water and then spill out, right? But if you take the straw, lay it on its side and dump water in it, it just trickles down the side and it's going to fall out, but it'll never overflow because it'll never fucking fill up. So the analogy the doctor said to me, he goes, the problem with the calcium score is we don't know if the fucking straw is up or the straw is down, meaning you could have calcium building up like an artery wall, but trickling down the side, and it could never cause a blockage. Or you could have calcium building straight up that actually is causing a blockage, but there's no real way to tell. That's the problem. So the calcium score, or the number, doesn't really give any significance. Like I've done CT angiograms, I've done nuclear stress tests, I've done everything. I don't have any blockage. I have perfect flow, but it's scary living with the fact that I know I have a high calcium score, because anytime I have like a little fucking, I'm always like, I get all fucking nervous.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, dude. And you guys know what I've been through with not what I've been through. I mean, we've all been through it, but you guys know, between John and Sean and George, and it just, the list goes on.
Sure.
It got scary for a while. So and then retiring is not an easy fucking thing to do. It's not easy to retire and lose 30 pounds of muscle and got to look yourself in the fucking mirror every day. It's fucking,
I bet.
It's not easy, dude. Like Brett, like when you retire, I mean, Nick, like, I don't know, like with you guys, like, I don't know how food savvy your muscles are, meaning like, I don't know how much of your muscle is maintained due to what you eat. Like Brett, obviously you lost a fucking 12 pounds in the hospital because you couldn't eat. So obviously you need food to maintain weight. Like for me, I hated eating so much that when I retired, I don't eat that many times a day, 4 times a day, 5, but it's not a big meal. They're not big meals. So I could see that the lack of eating, I shrunk just from the lack of food. Like I bet you if I added in 6 meals a day, I could get up to 215 within fucking 2-3 weeks. But without eating, like you guys aren't going to have the need to want to eat. So like, what do you think your target? Like, I think if I was just doing what I did and didn't give a fuck about like how I looked in like bodybuilding, I'd probably walk around at like 165, 170.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, what do you think you'd be, Nick?
240.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. My family's big. Like we're big people.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother.
Your brother's not big.
He's 215.
It's not big.
Yeah, but he doesn't try either. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he eats like 3 to 4 times a day.
Well, you also got to think with Nick, it's gonna. I mean, he's just gonna be 230, 240 for years, just because of the muscle mass he's already put on. You know what I mean? It's not just gonna go away. It'll take years for that to come down.
What did you guys graduate high school at? They say that's a good judge.
I was 230.
Okay.
I was 160.
Yo.
So I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I'll be like you guys. I won't ever see. I don't think I'll ever be under 200 pounds in my life, but I'll definitely, when I'm retired, it'll start creeping down there pretty quick. But also like I want to get involved in other things, man. Like when I'm done, I want to play like intramurals. You know, I want to be playing pickup sports and things like that.
Yeah, I like to start running and shit.
Spending time, you know, doing things with the daughter and you know any other kids at that point. So I'll be actually shooting for that. You know, only. You're doing it in a healthy way, 3-4 meals a day, because you know I don't have an appetite, so that's not going to be an issue. But that's what I definitely see as well.
I'm always hungry, so that'll be an issue.
I gotta cut into Nick real quick because Nick said, like Forrest Gump, I want to start running.
Well, I would like to get more active when I retire. I want to get more.
Let me explain something. Okay. Let me explain something. Yeah, you wake the fuck up when I'm talking to you. Dude, no, listen. So when I retired, because I remember Fuad got on that fucking running kick. So I was like, I'm going to give this shit a try.
Oh, no, I'm not going to go like.
So, no, what I'm saying is I tried to run. I started running for about 3 weeks. Okay. And I was following a running program. Just running a little bit every day. The amount of weight I was dropping just running was fucking absurd. Like I couldn't keep weight on just running like in intervals in the morning. The weight was flying off me. It's insane. And not only that, Nick, it's not like you have fucking little legs. Like my legs for 212 were considered big when I competed. They're still pretty decently sized now, but even at the size they are now, trying to run with them it sucks, dude. Like you're going to have to be downsized a lot if you want to fucking like run.
I'd like to be like 220. That would be like my goal weight.
Fucking Trigilli was talking about riding like a bike, like he loves it, like bicycle, like cycling.
No, it's like go ride a bicycle. Like,
would you? But I always scream at, like, I always get pissed off at those fucking people for hogging the roads and shit. Like, I don't want to be that guy in a onesie, like fucking pedaling down the road.
We don't have to take it that serious.
What?
I want to go on like a bike trail. I don't want to fucking look like Lance Armstrong taking up getting in people's way in traffic. But hey, Branch runs now. He was saying he runs like a mile or two, like easy. Like, that'd be a sight to see, but I believe it because he does it for like hunting and stuff too.
He doesn't do it every day. I think he does cardio every day, but he runs when he's got to get ready to go on like certain hunts and shit.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about going on an elk hunt in New Mexico, and if like we both got a tag for that, like we like that shit, I would have to start like walking and like running with like you get like a backpack and fill it with fucking rocks and shit and like weights and fucking do all that shit. Cause that's just not easy, man. It's not easy at all to do that stuff. That stuff's because they drop you off in a fucking cabin. They're like, see you later. Be back in a week. Like,
well, you're carrying everything for the whole week with you on your back.
Yeah.
Plus if you shoot something, you have to carry it back with you. No, it's incredible. That's something I can't do. We wouldn't be able to do for a long ass time.
I actually this Thursday, this is the only weekend Nick was knowing, because Nick was asking me about coming up to Pure Muscle when he was in Canada this weekend, possibly, and go see the HD guys and train at the gym. But this weekend is the only weekend that I never book anything on, because it's the weekend I go upstate New York, and me, my dad, and my old training partner Rich, that you guys probably know from like a lot of training videos from years back, and a bunch of like my dad's friends, we all go up to the Adirondacks and we go fishing in the river, like in the Sable River, and we go trout fishing. And we fish. We'll get up there. Me and Rich will pick me up for Thursday morning. We get up there, fish Thursday night, fish all day Friday, and then Friday night we go out to eat, and then Saturday we fish again, and then Saturday night we like cook all the fish that we caught all week. And it's just rednecks being rednecks, bro. We're just in like a nice, like big fucking like log cabin house, big fire pit, and we just in the middle of nowhere. Cell phone service sucks, and we're just in the stream all day, fucking smoking backwoods and catching fucking fish, dude. It's awesome. It's the best. I definitely, if you guys have never gone like in like camping or like fishing in the middle of nowhere, hunting, like it's an experience. Brett, you're a redneck kind of though.
Yeah, I have the redneck background coming up, especially living in Iowa. Did a lot of hunting and fishing. I mean, honestly, that's one of the main things I miss, because I especially, but you were there. You have to take sacrifices on things. I think you've done extremely well, especially in your career, still having that pretty good balance. But moving away from, my land and stuff, obviously when we went to Colorado, that kind of stuff kind of went out the window. And so it's just been more, obviously putting on size, you can't do a lot of those things anymore. We still go back and hunt every year in December, just go shotgun deer hunting. And that's always a blast. It's just a weekend, it's just kind of pushing deer to somebody in a stand, just blasting and having fun. But that'll be, down the road, that'll be something that'll pick up a lot. And I mean, I'll probably do some shit with you too, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I went to the range on Saturday, and my buddy brought his AK, which I've shot in AKs before, but he brought his AK that he just got. And dude, it's just, that thing is so smooth. And I was grouping them. I was blowing the ring out of the target. I was like, this thing is fucking great. And then he brought his 44 Magnum. Oh, yeah. which is fucking huge. Which like actually when you shoot it, he got me a little nervous. He was like, listen, he goes, it's gonna hurt. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's gonna feel like somebody like, and it felt like, like I held a cup like this, and somebody took a hammer and just smacked the cup as hard as they could. Like that motherfucker kicked like a bitch. But so I think I'm going to invest in, I got 3 permits. I want to get a 1911 and I want to get an AK. Those are going to be my next 2 pickups.
Solid.
Nick, would you have guns? I know Brett's got a bunch, right, Brett?
So here with me, I have 2 hang. I have a 1911 and I have a SIG.
Which one?
45.
Okay.
No, the SIG 320X.
Was that a 9?
Yes, sir.
Nick, what about you?
I do not have any yet. I plan on getting one, but not yet.
Have you ever shot?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Me and Maria, actually, we just went to a shooting range around the corner from our house.
Oh, in Vegas?
Yeah.
What do you like to shoot?
I'm regular, man. I like the typical 9mm.
No, I'm saying like when you go to the range, you like to shoot like long gun, like rifles, or you like to shoot like handguns, or?
I'm a handgun guy.
Yeah. What's the law in Vegas? You're allowed to carry, right?
Yeah, there's not really many rules here.
Are you gonna eventually get your carrying permit and have a gun and carry and stuff, or not really?
I'm probably not to carry, but just to have it,
It's weird. Some people are like that own guns are like, yes, I want to carry. And then some people that own guns are like, no, like I have no need to carry. Like do I personally have a need to carry? No, but the need to carry comes from the knowingness of what has happened in the past and the amount and the influx of shootings that continue to happen. So that's where I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't mind having one on me just in case.
I agree with that too. Yeah.
You know, it's just like kind of like the saying, you never want to be caught with your pants down type of deal.
That's one of those situations. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the topic of guns is a sticky situation. I mean, you know, I don't know. I have a gun. I mean, Brett, you're having a, you know, if I don't know, I feel like especially if you have a family, you should have a gun. You know, more than anything.
On my bedside right now. I mean, now anyway. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, well, that's where it should be. I mean, my gun every night, I take it out and it's next to my right next to my bed in arm's distance. Now, obviously, if I had a child or children here, that would be a different different thing because it would have to be, you know, put away somewhere else. But yeah, I'm a big believer in the Second Amendment, man. You know, that amendment was put there, and people argue, but it was put there for two reasons. It was put there to protect fucking the crops and you know for hunting, and it was there to make sure that the government, you know, didn't overthrow the people and, you know, aka tyranny. So that's the reason you have weapons. And, you know, I enjoy shooting and going to the range. Brett, I know you do too. And you've lived off your weapons. You've shot deer and ate the deer you shot. And there's something about, I don't know. I don't know. There's no way to explain it. Like, I don't know about you, Brett, but every time I go hunting, Nick, maybe I'll be able to take you. That'd be awesome to take you on a hunt for your first time.
Yeah, I love to.
But Brett will tell you, I mean, the reason why I continue to hunt is because when you get that animal in the scope that, you know, you on stage bodybuilding, crowd cheering is one thing, but the excitement you get before you pull a trigger and your knees start to fucking chatter and your fucking heart rate goes through the roof and you're breathing heavy like you're fucking wrestling somebody, but you're just have the gun. And it just, like, I don't know about you, Brett, but that's the all that adrenaline and all, like, your knees start to shake and like you got to control yourself. And like, it's all that excitement is why I love the hunt. And
the thing is, it never goes away either, you know, for the most part. Maybe there's somebody out there that shot so many.
My dad said this, if that went away, I wouldn't want to do it anymore.
Exactly. Dude, I still remember to this day, first time I had that, 12 years old. 12 years old with a 410 double barrel shotgun, bro.
A
410 double barrel shotgun. So we're turkey hunting. It's me and my dad. And he goes, and like he had his gun, obviously. I don't even think I had like a permit, you know, or whatever. And he was just like, okay, if we get one close enough, I mean, it has to be like 10 feet away. He's like, you can shoot. And so he had his gun just in case they didn't get close enough, right? But he calls the turkey because he was really good with like mouth calls and stuff. And he calls this turkey in, and you can just hear it's full strut, you know, where they fan up and they have a drum, and they make and like I'll still remember that to this day, that noise it makes. It's like you can just, and like they're so loud because the forest is so, you know, quiet, and you just hear this thing. It sounds like a monster's coming towards you. So you can't see it. And it just kept getting closer and closer and closer. And it got so close that my dad, like, he's sitting next to me around a tree. And like, you know, I'm thinking to myself, it needs to get closer. It needs to get closer. And he's like, he grabs my leg. He's like, shoot, what are you shoot? Like, it was straight up 20 feet.
Barrel length away.
Yeah. 15 feet from us. And I shot it one time with a 410. I don't know. People probably don't know what 410 is, but
410 is not a high caliber.
Yeah, it's like for shooting rabbits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, dude, I shot that thing and dropped him in one shot when I was 12.
Did you really?
But all I remember is like my knee. Aiming.
Shot him in the head, right?
Yep, my knees are shaking. You have the adrenaline rush, and I shot that thing and just smoke, and you don't see anything, and you're just the most excited person in the world.
Yeah,
it's just it's something you can't describe, really is. And then, but to follow that up, it's not just that rush, but then like, gathering it, taking it home, and then the process of, getting it ready. I think we had it for Thanksgiving that year, and it was a big deal because it was, Brett's first turkey and stuff. So it's just what goes behind it and like the family aspect too. So I know, for my kids, that'll be something I'm going to push on them as like, hunting and fishing and enjoying those moments in nature and things.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Nick, I'm sure everybody has their own traditions. Like, my dad owned a hunting and fishing store for 15 years, and I grew up fishing and hunting and butchering and, doing all that kind of stuff. And it's just something that it makes me think of my dad, and if I had kids, it was something that I want to pass down to my kids. It's something my dad does with all his grandkids, every single one of them he's fished with, he goes hunting with, turkey hunt with. And there's something about being in the middle of nowhere and to be in nature and just fucking listening to nothing and just the sounds of the world that just, I don't know if you've never done it, even if you've never gone, if you don't want to hunt, just I encourage you, take a hike in the middle of nowhere and just fucking sit and just listen. It's pretty amazing.
Even more so now, you know what I mean? Like just to get away from this world we're in, especially with media, with technology all around us. Like just go out there and get out of a little bit. You need those weekends just to reset and just remember, like, oh shit, this stuff's still out here. Unfortunately.
I mean, what about when you guys were younger? I mean, how active? I mean, I was pretty active. Like I would come home from school, right? Like when I was in like K through, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know their breakdown of school. Nick, I don't know in Jersey, like how it was with you, but like we did K through 6 was one school. And then 7th and 8th was middle school in a separate school. And then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th was in a separate school. So we had 3 different schools.
Yeah, that was us.
Right. So, like for me, so you guys had 3 separate schools too.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah.
So now when they switch, so did the way our district did it, I'm trying to make a point. The way our district did it is we had one main middle school, but then there was like all these little K through 6 schools that surrounded them. And then they all went to that one 7th and 8th grade. And then they all went to that high school.
Yep.
Right. So K through 6 is separate schools. Then you all come together for 7th and 8th grade in middle school, and then all of them go up into the high school together.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. Same.
Now, my mouth's getting dry as hell. So I lost my train of thought now. God damn it.
I didn't know where you were going with this. Just explain the school. You're just always busy, right?
No, I forgot what I was saying. It'll come back to me. Damn it.
We just explained to everybody how K through 12.
I know what were we talking about before that? I just lost my train of thought.
We were talking about staying busy and being active, and when we were younger, and
okay, yeah. So okay, so that's okay. So because middle school was different and high school was different, but when I was in K through 6, right, I remember coming home, literally dropping my bags off, and then going outside and playing with the kids in the neighborhood, whether it was skateboarding, whether it was fucking riding bikes, whether it was playing basketball, football, whether it was playing like baseball in the street, playing baseball in the lot. We would play football in the cemetery. Yeah, like we always did shit. And I was in Italy with my parents and we were driving by and people were actually outside in a park playing. And I was like, man, that's fucking refreshing to see. Like, you don't see that much anymore. Like kids actually outside being active. I mean, there's a lot of inside staying on the phones and playing video games. I was never a gamer. I don't know if you guys got into games. Really?
Well, I was very active, but I also played a lot of games too. So,
like, what about you, Brent? Were you like into games and shit?
Video games was more like high school. You know what I mean? More like end of high school into college and stuff like that. Like with like Call of Duty and shit like that, and Halo. I remember Halo.
What did you?
No, when I was when what you're talking about was exactly the same. K through 6, you got done with elementary school. You went home, you got your shit, and then you went out and played until the street lights came on because you didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
You didn't have communication. You just knew to go home when the street lights came on because that was like usually 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And like, what's crazy thing back is that your parents didn't know where you were. You know what I mean? They just knew you were within like, for me, it was like a 4-mile radius. Like we would go, we would just go, you know what I mean? Like riding around, it didn't matter. But like, that shit doesn't exist anymore. I don't think so. I mean, I obviously don't, but I don't see it much. I live in a neighborhood now, and I don't see any kids like going out playing. They might be in their yard a little bit, but they don't. They're not hanging out with friends, going by the houses and stuff like that. I remember going into. Sorry, I remember. Like in new developments, like we lived in that. Dude, we would go into all like the new houses being built. We would like ride our bikes into the basements, into the houses. We would take some of their supplies and like build we would build our own little forts out of house supplies. Like it was just that you just did shit. And it was fun
because back then, like, dude. So my buddies. My dad's friend told me to stop by his house on the last week when the gas crew, MJ and Branch, all them guys came up. We went fishing. My dad's buddy's like, hey, stop by my house. I want to give you something. And he knows I used to dip. So he had this it wasn't tobacco, but it comes in it looks like a tobacco can. and it's all different like leaves and like different things like molasses and like whatever, this leaf and that leaf, and it's like it's supposed to like mimic tobacco, but it's got no tobacco in it. It's like for people that like have quit dip but like still like the like chewing or pretending to chew. So I stopped by his house and I was like, dude, I said, I didn't know you lived back here. He's like, yeah. I said, we used to break into all the houses that were fucking like run down when I was a kid. I go, there would be like all fucking like bottles of like those science experiments and all beakers everywhere. And I go, it almost looked like a meth lab. He goes, yeah, it was. I was like, seriously? He goes, yeah. He goes, you guys used to break into their fucking house. He goes, and they used to come on our property and fucking do fucking donuts and tear my property up because they thought we were the ones breaking into their fucking house. I was like, oh, too bad. But we used what?
Keep your meth hidden.
keep your meth in fucking inside. Don't let the meth out. But my mom and dad, we had a brass bell out, so it's still there outside the house. So when my mom was ready to cook, I'll take a picture of it next time I'm there. Nick, you'll die. It's a fucking, looks like a Liberty Bell. It's outside the house. And they would just ring it and it would go doom, doom. And my dad would be like, all right, let's go. Or he would just go,
Gaetano.
and just do the man whistle. And you hear that from like 3 miles away and be like, all right, we're on our way. You know, but yeah, dude, it's you don't see kids being active anymore. I don't see anybody outside. I don't even see people walking. I live on a very like in the middle of nowhere road. It's a 25-mile-an-hour zone. I have a lot of neighbors, like not neighbors that are close to me, but like a lot of people nobody walks on the street. Nobody walks their dog. Nobody does cardio. Nobody does a fucking thing. And it just blows my mind, the lack of activity that people have. And it's because of the phone. And so many people acknowledge that the phone's an issue, but not a lot of people. Like, I'm bad. Like right now, I have 78, if you guys could see it, 78 text messages unread. And I'm horrible at getting back to text messages, but it's like, I can't make that my priority. Like I can't make texting all day long a priority because then I'm going to get lost in my day. Like my screen time, I've been noticing like my screen time it says like it's been going down and down and down because I don't want to be on my phone all day, dude. I'm wasting my life worrying about what's on Instagram and fucking. Yeah, I really am, dude. I'm 41 years old and I got to worry about what's posting every other day and what's this and what's that and who's liking comments. It's like, dude, it's like, this is what I'm going to post and this is what I'm going to share. You either like it or you don't. You know, I can't worry and waste my life. I mean, Brett, you got a family, you know, you got better shit to do than be fucking texting. And I'm sure you're noticing it now. Like your time is much better fucking spent with your wife and your daughter than it is being on social media all goddamn day.
Yeah.
You appreciate that time more, right? Yeah. So it's like, that's what you want to spend yourself doing because you know those moments, especially with a baby, like how much they change in days right now, like day to day, it's a significant difference. So it's soak that in as much as you can. So I've definitely noticed that as well.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, Nick, you too, I mean, with different times, like, do you think our parents, like, I'm sure, I mean, I can't say I'm sure, but my parents, especially my father would always make comments like, when I was your age, you don't even know what it was like. And like, I look back now and I think I think the same thing that my father thinks about the kids growing up now. And I'm like, I wonder if that's just how it is. Like, no matter what, I wonder.
On repeat.
I think, is that kind of how life's supposed to be?
Yeah.
You know, like the evolution of it. Like, for example, I used to make fun of my dad, right, for not knowing how to like use an Xbox controller. Right. Or like now there's so many different things out there and like different I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck. Like I'm like Word doc is about as far as I push it. I'm good. Like the technology is so surpassed where my brain is. It's like, I almost feel like I'm in my dad's shoes now. And like, I'm the guy who like has to learn because I'm the old guy that doesn't know anything.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, it's like this next thing is like Chat GPT and like AI. I'm like, I'm not even going to start.
What?
I'm not even going to try to go down that route and get into like AI. You know, like we're using like Chat GPT or
what's that?
It's AI. So artificial intelligence.
Yeah, but what's Chat BTC?
Chat GPT. people are using it's like, I mean, for anything. You can literally be like, hey, I need to write a paper. Like, you know, so write a paper about Guy and Nick go on an adventure together and Guy ends up killing Nick. And like they'll all of a sudden within seconds, there will be a full out story of like, you know, Guy and Nick go into the woods and, you know, it'll like just make a whole storyline, or you can use it for different things.
Is that like an app?
Yeah. I mean, it's an app. It's, you know, it's on the internet. I don't know. I don't use it, but I've seen like examples of it.
See, this is why I stopped teaching. I went to my
Well, the thing is, how is that not ruining schools? Because I think they have to deal with that, because like all these kids are turning in papers and none of them are actually like doing anything. Because you can literally go like, I have a science paper that needs to be done tonight. I'm gonna go on there and be like, hey, write me a 2-page paper about thermogenesis or something, and they'll write it for you. Like
I don't know how in depth you guys know about me, but I went to school to be a history teacher. I have a history degree. And I was talking to my good buddies, mom and dad, about teaching and why I didn't want to teach. And I said, once teaching turned into paper, once paper and pen went to technology, is kind of when it really started turning me off, because kids turned to Google instead of teachers. Like you can Google every answer that you want. You can Google how to perform heart surgery. You can watch YouTube videos on it. Like the need now, the need for the teachers is so lackluster because the internet makes answers so readily available at their fingertips. But the problem is that there's a lack of teaching, and it's not because of the teachers, it's because of the technology. Kids shouldn't be allowed to have their phones in school.
No.
I always got yelled at.
Kids should not be allowed to have their phones in school. Like they should be in the fucking locker. They should not allowed to be out at all. They should be confiscated if they're taken. I don't care if somebody says, well, what happens if it's an emergency? In your fucking locker. Like I made it through fucking high school and every grade possible, including college, without a cell phone. These kids don't need cell phones. I don't care what era it is, what age it is, but cell phones and technology is what's killing fucking kids and what's killing street smarts and what's killing fucking people just having just normal book intelligence. Because dude, the average person, Brett, I don't know if you know this, man, or pay attention, but people are not as smart as they should be. There's a lot of dumb motherfuckers out there.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, like especially using those resources to get your way through school, and then you get to the real world and you're fucked. You know what I mean? You're literally they're screwed. Like, where do we go from there? I didn't learn that. I didn't soak that in. You know, I just turned in what I needed to, and then it's gonna smack you in the face. And then we're seeing a lot of it. I agree.
Now, Nick, you didn't go to college, right?
No.
Brett, you did?
Yes.
What's your degree in?
Exercise science, physiology, and then also I got a teaching degree as well.
So that's what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So what I ended up getting, I got in phys ed. So I could have been a PE teacher right out of college. I could have been a PE teacher, or because the exercise science background as well. But I didn't want to go that route. I student taught for an entire semester, K through 12. I did every grade. And I actually had a blast. I mean, I really did. I enjoyed like working with kids and doing PE teaching and things like that. But it was like dealing with parents and dealing with the other teachers is what I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
And then also when you are coming, right out of college with that degree, the only teaching options are like, hey, you need to go down to small buttfuck town nowhere. We're gonna have you be the PE teacher, the football coach, the basketball coach, women's softball coach, men's track coach, and cheerleading coach, and we'll pay you $38,000 a year. And I was just like, I can't do this. I know you got to build your way up, but I can't do this at 22 years old,
Starting salary was $40,000 when I got out of college, and I was working for HSBC, which is a finance company. It's a big bank based out of China. And it's obviously the bank, that we have finance companies here in the States. I was working in Connecticut, and I was making over double that right out of college. And I was like, I could never go back to teaching and doing that for $40,000 a year.
I applaud them for sure. But
what you guys should do, Nick, and this is what I was going to direct this to you too, is one thing that I was able to do, and Brett too, since you wanted to teach, one thing that I've done a lot of was I've done a lot of motivational speaking at schools. And the good thing about that, Nick, you like kids. Brett, you went the teaching route. And the reason why it's good is because you get to be in front of kids, you get to teach, and you get to talk to them, and you get to do it your own fucking way. There's no criteria you have to follow. There's no school curriculum. There's nobody watching you. And it's really cool. I've been to the University of Michigan twice. I've been to schools in Norwalk, Connecticut. I've been to schools in New Jersey, in Texas. I traveled a lot for doing speaking at schools. And if you guys haven't done it, Nick, like, I think if you reach out to your like local high school, like what, like, dude, you coming back and like having a day and like going to the auditorium and talking to those kids, like, you have no idea that, like, I have kids that reach out to me still to this day on times I've done speaking and things and how ways I've helped them. Like, and if you're big with kids or teaching or just like that aspect of things, like doing that and giving back is huge. And I've done that many, many times, and speaking at schools is an awesome way to do it. It really is cool, man.
I actually had an interest in doing that.
You did?
Yeah.
Easiest thing to do if you have contacts at your high school, just reach out to them, or like a teacher that you had, or like a sports team that you played at, they're still there. If not, just email them, or like you can even go to like a board of ed meeting.
Yeah, sure.
So let's talk some bodybuilding, because this weekend we really didn't talk a lot of bodybuilding. We've been on for well over an hour. So we had the New York Pro last weekend. I was obviously there. You guys weren't there. They got the calls right. I mean, if you guys want to, talk about the calls and who was there and who was not, who showed up, who didn't. But Antonio looked, fucking nails peeled. Stu was crazy, thick motherfucker. I don't think if he would have won, anybody would have argued that. But this past weekend, we had the Cali Pro, and we had a lot of shocking things that happened. And I think
a lot of surprises there.
Yeah. Now you guys are both with the Flavor Gang.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys know Ross Flanagan pretty well. I know Ross. He's a great guy, and he took a couple of years off to gain some weight, and it looked like it was between him and Antonio. Now I've heard arguments that people said it could have been Antonio. That a lot of people had Antonio winning, a lot of people had Ross winning, from what I've heard. But it seems that a lot of times if somebody's won a show once and it's close, a lot of times they'll give the nod to the other guy, so they give have somebody else at the Olympia, which I think I'm completely okay with. People might say, well, the best guy should win, but yeah, if you're talking to fucking cunt hair away, and the one guy already has an Olympia qualification, and the one guy doesn't, I mean, it's happened to me where I've gotten second before because of that. So, what did you guys think of the show? Because Sergio came in and landed in fourth, and I think a lot of people had him as the front runner. As when I heard he was in, I was like, well, he looks like a fucking freak. So what did you guys think of that show as a totality, Brett?
I think Sergio was third, wasn't he?
He was third.
Third or fourth? Who got fourth?
Stu was fourth.
Stu got fourth. Okay. Then I was wrong. Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, all I saw was pictures. So based off pictures, I was kind of leaning towards Tonio. Just based off the pictures I saw, and then also, like you said, he just won last weekend. He was even better than last weekend. I thought so. And so just in that, and then being Ross, being like, I'm not gonna say he's kind of a no name, but the judges really didn't know him yet. He's only done one pro show. He didn't do very well because he messed up his peak. Obviously we've been seeing him coming and like his updates and stuff, and I knew he was gonna do really well. But I mean, I was shocked to see he won. But I think it was like another instance that you had to be there. Like he posted some of those back shots, and he was peeled from head to toe.
He was, yeah.
He earned it, and like his legs were super impressive, both back and front. Big thick legs, peeled legs. And then I think he obviously will need a little bit more work on just upper body, just to continue to progress there. I think Tonio got him on like the back shots on the upper body. But like I said, that's when it was close enough on shape, and then just I think that conditioning just pulled him over. And then I think Sergio was better than he's looked in previous competitions. But I think the trip affected him. I don't think he beat properly, especially from the backside. I think there could have been a little bit more conditioning, but I mean, you got here from Dubai 48 hours ago. That's gonna be pretty tough. So it was good to see him back, and it looks like he was in good spirits. So I was glad to see that. But shout. I mean, I wish I would have been around and seeing Ross, man. Like, that dude puts 100% effort every day, and just to see that, it's cool to see that when someone gets rewarded for their work, and you can see it. You saw him going crazy when he won, screaming and stuff.
Oh, he went crazy. It was awesome.
That's you know what we need to see more of that emotion. Like, no, everybody hides it. I think that's good to see.
Passion, man. Like, I felt that when I won. I'd gotten second 2 times before, and I finally got that one. You hear your name called first. We're not as fortunate. Nick that always gets a lot of first calls. So not just. But seriously though, like when you hear that, and he let it roar, and it was good. I mean, like you said, how much goes into that? Who knows? Like, hey, this guy is already qualified. There's not going to be as many good guys qualified this year. I don't think that's ever really a thing. You can think that way, maybe not, but I wouldn't want that to be a thing if it is. I really wouldn't want to know judges there be like, oh, well, he won last week and we need to, he's already qualified. I don't think that should ever.
No, what I'm saying, if I feel if a show, like let's say it's you and Nick, right, and it's super fucking close, right? Let's say it's Nick won last week and it's super close between you and Nick, right? And like the judges are deadlocked, and the judges like, if the judges were like, you know what, this is so fucking close, we can't make a decision. Like Nick won it last week, like we'll give it to Brett this week. Like I don't see a problem if that happens, because if that's the case, and you're talking there's a tie and who's going to break the tie, it's like, well, if the guy's already qualified, then give it to fucking the other. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm not saying it happened in this case. I'm saying I'm sure that happens in cases where like decision is so close, where like like in 2014, I won the Dallas Europa, and then the next weekend I compete at New York Pro, and Aaron Clark won, and I got second. And then the next weekend I got so pissed off, I went to Toronto and I did that show and I won just because I wanted to go in on a win. But my point is that I don't think Aaron Clark would have won that show if I didn't win the week before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. But so I think the only thing that Ross really lost was he doesn't have a lot of depth in that back lat spread. That's kind of the one shot where I think that
I think he lacks a lot of lat too.
Just lat in general.
Well, yeah, because even from the front, right, when he hits that front double, it's very shallow.
Now, who do you think is going to be a bigger threat at the Olympia, Antonio or Ross?
Well, I would have picked Antonio, because he's also had experience. He was there last year as well.
Yeah. He is crazy grainy hard.
Yeah. He was this time, yeah.
Huh?
He was this, but yeah, these past shows for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man, he's got a gnarly look to him. I mean, and he's only been competing as a pro for how long? What is this, his third year?
Well, he also came from 212.
Yeah. I'm saying as an open guy, but altogether was his third year?
I think it's his third, yeah. He turned pro, Antonio, in 2019.
Yeah, but competing as a pro, did he compete in 20?
I don't know. No, I think he started in 2021.
So it's the second.
He went to the 212 Olympia, and then after that, he made the Olympia last year. So yeah, it's an impressive resume.
Brett, let me ask you, because you weren't there, I wasn't, and I've already asked Nick this, but you weren't on last week. Give me your thoughts when you saw the guys at guest posing at Jim Mannion's Pittsburgh Pro Show.
Just in general?
Yeah, like what'd you think of the guys? Like, did anybody stand out? Did anybody not stand out? Was there anybody that shocked you? Anybody that
I thought it was one of the better ones that we've seen in the past. Overall, everybody was in decent off-season conditioning. Derek looked bonkers. I will say that. He's just his proportions are nutty, man. And he brings he's still a tiny waist for when he pulls it up and into his especially the front double and lat spread and stuff. But I thought Nick looked awesome. I think Nick, dude, and this is props to you, man. Nick, your waist is just getting better and better. Everybody keeps trying to look at it, and I knew you've been working on it, and you're doing that extra work. I know in the mornings or whatever you're doing, just keep doing it, because that was when I was really noticed. It's like, okay, if it's looking like this in the off season, you're 280 plus right now, I'm sure. That's a good sign, because I'm 280 plus right now. My shit ain't looking like that. Obviously, I'm a lower weight when I diet down too, and that's but that's if you just keep that up and you're making that progress, it's so. I thought it was, to be honest, looking up there, I thought it was a Nick and Derek show. Of course, sorry, why can't I think of his name right now? Arnold Samson, of course. Samson still looked really solid. Rami didn't look great. I'm glad he came. He showed his respect. He's putting his leg work in there and stuff. But it wasn't his best. But he also might not be doing anything. Who knows? He's somebody that takes care of other things. Hunter, I thought Hunter looks better than anticipated, or people anticipated. Yeah. I know he's been working really hard. I think he's bought in this offseason. I talked to him a bit, especially when we did that trip together. You can tell he's a different level of focus just because he didn't do as successful as he wanted. And then who else was there, right? Was that the main guy?
Sean,
yeah, Sean's just nutty in his 212 version. I think he kind of got lost in the talk there just because those other guys, obviously. But man, his legs look massive there and stuff. That's the first time I've really seen Sean in like full off-season mode. You know what I mean? Where it's like, he's probably 210 or stomach's out a little bit just because we're eating so much food. But it was. I thought it was a great lineup. That's gonna be the top 6 right there. And it'd be a good battle here this fall.
Let's go back to Sean for a second. Now, I don't know if one of you guys might know this because you guys both work with Matt, so you guys might know this better than me. Per what I know about Sean doesn't follow a diet in the off season. Is that still true?
Oh, I have no idea.
Sean flat out told me that like a couple years ago we were in Sweden that he eats whatever the fuck he wants in his off season. He doesn't follow shit.
Listen, I'm sure he follows to a degree. But I know he's big on kind of, if he craves it, he eats it type of thing.
Yeah.
But he does follow a diet for sure. Yeah.
Now, Brett, this is your what appearance at the O? First ever. Not your second.
He fucking made it, bro.
First ever.
This is gonna be first of many more. What are your thoughts going into this first Olympia? What are your, because when I did my first one, everybody was like, oh, you should be happy to be here. It's your first one. Not everybody gets to do this, yada, yada, yada. And you try to take that with you. But then part of you's like, no, fuck that. I want to fucking do well. I want to win. Fuck the feeling of just being here. I want to put on a fucking show and I want to go to battle. Is there anything going into this that you expect, don't expect? Do you have high expectations? What are you expecting, because you just called out a couple names and said, well, there's your top 6. I mean, bro, I don't know where you've been, but I mean, you're good enough to be in the top with the mix of those guys, bro. So
yeah. But being around long enough now that I've learned you also got to pay your dues, man. You know what I mean? I can name one guy, maybe two, I can name 2 guys. There's probably a few more out there, but I can name 2 guys that are ever top 5 their first Olympia. That's Phil Heath and Nick Walker, right? That comes to my mind. There might be a few more of that, maybe Dorian or something like that, and Flex Wheeler and stuff. But recently, thinking about that. So it's one of those things that, got to be realistic and, think about last year. Andrew Jack got 8th, 9th place and, his first Olympia, things like that. Obviously you work your way up. So it's, I'm going to prepare. Obviously I'm just excited to compete again, go through the diet. And then this lineup's going to be crazy, man. There's only going to be people, I don't think people realize last year was 30 guys. I think 28 to 30 guys. This year, there's only be 16 to 17 guys. And if
those 17 are going to be.
That's what I mean. There's going to be 17 and they're going to be, think about these next shows ahead of us: Chicago, Tampa, Texas. These are going to be
Toronto.
Yeah. Well, after that, when we get into that spree in the United States, those shows are going to be stacked, man. It's going to be a battle. There's going to be a lot of guys missing out because we've already seen the lineup for Toronto. It's going to be between, Ian. We got Ross again. I'm not even sure.
Is Ross doing it?
Who?
Yeah.
He is doing it again.
So it's we already know who's going to take that, and so they're running out of time. I mean, that's why I'm so glad that things worked out the way they did when I'm qualified, because a lot of good ass bodybuilders are not going to make it just because the numbers game here. So with that said, I have a goal of, at least I would love to get into the top 10. That'd be a huge goal for this lineup for, your first Olympia. That'd be amazing. I would feel, I'm not going to be disappointed either way, just because of this caliber. I'm probably going to be the only guy. I'll probably be the only one where, take that back. me and Ross will be the only guys where this is our first Olympia. So the depth is there and the experience is there. So it's just about, I need to make a footprint, where the judges are like, oh shit, he brought it, and I got to build from that. So the first year is about making that footprint, showing that, I'm serious, let's do this. And then, then I got to build from that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, man. I think, I think you're right there, Brett. I think you're right at the like that turn in the road where you keep doing the right things. You're gonna make that turn. You're gonna shock a lot of people, bro.
Agreed.
I think you've been flirting, drifting on that curve a little bit. So I think you're starting to make that turn. And
Yeah,
pretty fucking exciting.
That's how I work a bit. A lot of things we can't control either. So it's just gonna have fun. When I'm talking to Nick, I'm just looking forward to that week. Getting there with the guys, all of us already, the work's done. And just
that's the best part of it, right? When you get there the week before.
Think about all those experiences you had, with Flex.
Yeah, man.
You can just relax and bullshit and like.
Some of the best memories were Aceto. There's some of the best in the hotel rooms, like just chilling in the hotel, like talking about fucking life and just bullshit, not bodybuilding, and just like laying there dehydrated, just like eyes closed, just talking, having conversations with this Chris about for hours on hours. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Just things that you can never get back, those
and this being my first one too, like, I already have 20 to 30 people that are going, just for support. All my family is, bringing the baby, everyone's flying in, a lot of people from Denver, a lot of people from Iowa.
Hell yeah.
It's I'm bringing a crowd and just
great.
Have fun, man.
So well, Nick, I was going to ask you, where are you training now in Vegas? Are you still bouncing around?
Yeah, I got so many options, bro. I just bounce around.
Yeah. That new torture gym looks dope, dude.
That gym's epic, bro. That gym is epic.
You like that one, huh?
I do, because the equipment, bro, it's so it hits right. And it doesn't like hit your joints at all. You don't have any like tendon. It just hits the muscle right where you want it to. It's awesome.
What's the brand on that?
I was going to ask the same thing.
New Tech.
I don't think I've ever trained on that.
It's so smooth. It literally is so smooth.
So who owns that company? Is it the same people that own the gym? Is that why it's there?
I think so.
So did they like develop this equipment themselves and like they're starting to make it and they're going to outsource it to be made?
Yeah.
Now, who owns that?
The gym?
New Tech.
Torture gym.
A couple. It's a couple.
Trying to think who it was, because I got confused originally, because isn't there the guy that massages out of Flex's gym called the Torture Room?
Oh yeah. But no, this is like a whole.
Yeah, so that's when I first saw that, I got confused because I was like, wait a second. I thought they were one and the same, but that's where the confusion came from. But I've heard nothing but good things. You guys, so in Vegas alone, you got Dragon's Lair, you got Torture Gym, you got is Dennis's, I don't know if it's open to the public, but you got Hidetada's gym, you have Fit Club,
Elevation.
You have Elevation, you have what's the one where City Athletic used to be?
Oh, Dragons or something. I don't know if that's still open.
Yeah, I don't know. And you also have Lift Factory.
Lift Factory.
What else? What am I missing?
LBAC.
You have all the LBAC.
And you can literally hit any one of those in a radius of 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Or a radius of 15
Elevation's
miles?
Elevation's a little further, but they're all anywhere from 15, 20 minutes from where
that's fucking great. That's Brett, where do you train down in Florida?
I just have Revive where I'm at. There's nothing else around here.
So okay. So that's no matter what, that's where you go.
Brett, how far is that from your house?
It's about, Marin Track, 12 to 20 minutes, somewhere between there.
12 to 20.
12 to 20 minutes.
Usually 15 minutes.
That's not bad.
How's that gym? Now, have you been to Pure?
No, I want to though.
A lot of people were just bragging about Pure. I'm just trying to get a sense for like comparability. I was like, how is it compared to Bev's? They're like, it's way bigger. I'm like, seriously, compared to this shit, like way bigger.
Dude, I love Bev's gym, but it's just way bigger, and they have so much, bro.
That's crazy to me.
And Bev's is one of my favorite gyms, but when you go to Pure, bro, you're gonna be like
a playground.
Right. Yeah. Where do I start?
Brett, you enjoy the Revive feel or the Armburst feel? I've never trained at Armburst or Revive.
I mean, I still think, I mean, even if I went to Vegas and did all those gyms and stuff, I would still have Armburst as my number one. I mean, it's one of those things. It's not so much.
Home gym.
It's your home. That's what made me, man. I went out there as a 200-pound classic physique guy, and it turned into a 245-pound open guy. Just through the work there, the history there. Phil, his shit all there. What I love the most out there is we would open up the fucking big ass garage doors, and you have that mountain air coming in there. I mean, Nick was there. I mean, obviously he didn't have that nostalgia feel like I do, but he enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It's like it's its own thing, but it's also you're kind of out. Denver isn't like a huge hotspot like Vegas or anything like that. It was a great home gym.
I've never been. I hear nothing. Branch talks very, very highly of Dylan Armburst, and
it's definitely, I'd say, one of the best gyms I've been to, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I got to go out there.
Yeah, but it's not gonna like blow your, it's not gonna blow your load on like the new equipment or anything like that. But what he does is he's done such a good job of, someone each year adds like two new pieces, not necessarily new, but like two unique pieces that bodybuilders like.
Which is great. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. So it's just it's always upping up the game and just being on top of things, and it's a good feel for sure.
That's awesome, dude.
Great atmosphere. Great atmosphere.
Yeah. I definitely got to check that out. I was supposed to go. Branch and Dylan had a show I was going to go to, but then I couldn't make it. But I'm hoping to make it out there within the next year. So that's one gym I've never been to, and I've heard nothing but positive things about it. And I hear Dylan. I hear nothing about good things about Dylan.
Dylan's phenomenal. Great guy.
Dude. Yeah, and I hear what's his wife? Is it his wife's name?
No, he's not married anymore. It used to be. I think it used to be Heather Armburst, but that was like 10.
Oh, okay.
She was a really good women's bodybuilding competitor.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I don't know. I'm obviously not out there, so I don't know the semantics of everything. So besides the kid, Brett, anything else happening in the life of the Wilkin or what?
No, that's been everything. That's serious, just that, and working on shit. And I mean, now it's
what's up? Any update with the butcher straps? I haven't heard anything about those.
No, I mean, my main thing right now is just getting enough stock in to do retail next. So I'm gonna start reaching out to gyms. I've got it's all behind me here. I've actually got pretty stocked up now. Been consistent on it. So
they're great.
Just fulfill the orders, as they come in.
That's awesome.
So that the main goal after the child was to push it a little bit more that way.
Where can people find them if we want to? Me and Nick want to throw it up. Where
just butcherhooks.com, make it nice and simple. So they're just unique lifting straps in that they're extremely convenient. Just slide on and off, especially for like hypertrophy work. So what we do, it's not you don't have to spend so much time wrapping, and it's just grab and go. And
Nick, did you ever try them?
Yeah, I love
it. Where did that concept come from? Right.
So it was already a company. So when I was first started training in Iowa, there was a local guy he sold them. They're called actually Rex's Grips. And so I wore them for like 5, 6, 7 years. And I got, people locally would wear them, but he's 70 years old. He didn't have social media. He couldn't really promote them. It was just an idea he put together. And so finally, like 2 years ago, it clicked with me. I was like, I want to take these further. So I reached out to him. I actually flew back and met with him, went to his house. We started a friendship with him. And I was like, man, I think I could actually open these up and sell them really well. So we still keep in touch and stuff, but he ended up selling me the patent on them. So I bought the patent from him and then, made a few adjustments and then put them up, changed the name and went from there. So it's actually cool to kind of see his project. I'm always going to give him props, but his project, but then I was able to, through my presence, through my platform, was able to take it to the next level.
Of course. Now, once you make adjustments to the product, don't you have to get it repatented again because you made adjustments to it?
Yeah, but it matters on how, mine was just very minimal. So it's just moving down the elastic strap a little bit. So what I'll do next, I want to do a padded version.
Okay.
Like, because they're not pad, but like, because we don't care, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
some people are like, can we get a pad on them? And so I'll probably end up doing, I'll do that. And then I will have to get a new pad because that's a whole new, strip that has to be detailed in case someone wants to try to steal it. But I'm not that big enough yet that people are trying to steal the idea.
But that's awesome, dude. It's good to see like I started my clothing company when I started bodybuilding. I started in 2012 and I started competing in 2010 as a pro. It's cool to see like Nick has his clothing line and he's got the mutant sauce and he's got signature series things, in the works. And it's just cool to see that, you guys are doing the business thing too. Cause I think a lot of people get caught up in the bodybuilding thing. And I think I told Nick this early on too. I said, you got to be a good bodybuilder, but you got to be even better businessman if you want to make it in this sport. You have to fucking know the business sense of things. And it's cool to see. I mean, I've known you guys for a long time. It's cool to see you guys going from, just turning pro to trying to win pro shows, to winning pro shows, to fucking coming out with your own shit. It's cool, man. Cause I get to see it from the outside looking in and it's fucking awesome to watch. I really get a sense of, it's like euphoric for me to watch you guys fucking succeed. It's awesome. It's really fucking cool. So, well, Brett, listen, we've took up almost 2 hours of your time. And the last thing I want to do is take any more time away from you and that little one. So, I'll give you the floor to shout out who and anybody, anything you want, let people know where to find you, where your links are at, your promo codes, anything, the butcher sauce, which I saw the butcher sauce and mutant sauce are on hold until the summer. Or after the summer?
Yeah, they're being redone. As far as
okay. Well, like bottles or just like reformulations or?
I think formulation.
Okay. Well, I still have some of the butcher sauce downstairs, and I'm out of the mutant sauce. So, but I won't ask for anything. Nick Ross. No, I'm just kidding.
Ross.
No, but go ahead, Brett. Yeah, just shout out anybody. But I mean, a lot.
Yeah. Like you said, butcherhooks.com, check that out. That's, my apparel, the straps, different sizes, everything, colorways. And so I'll keep coming out with that. And obviously gotta give a shout out to Gasp, me and the guys, our company there, Gasp and Better Bodies. I'm in running Get Raw Nutrition and Revive. So, I feel good, especially with them, all these same groups backing me. We've been having a great relationship. So it's good to feel secure, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you don't have to question things and stuff. It's just, hey, live life, like be comfortable. And it's been really, really good lately. So I want to shout out. And then obviously Flavor Game with the butcher sauce, the mutant sauce, and Ross giving us those opportunities. And that's been a lot of fun. And shout out to Mama Ivana Wilkin for all of her hard work these last week. And
that's awesome.
That's that. So that's I can't wait to, honestly, I'm gonna make for sure one of these 2 trips, but hopefully both. And this is me, you hold me accountable to this, but I got the okay from Ivana. So I'm for sure gonna come to one of you guys, but hopefully both. So I'm gonna be I really want to come to Vegas so me and Nick can hit like 4 gyms in 4 days. And
listen, don't think you can't hit 4 gyms in 4 days in Jersey, bitch.
I know I can. So I already for sure am going, because I got a guest posing in Denver. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fly over to Vegas. I have a buddy.
You have to look at it like this. If you're with me, you're gonna look like a fucking substantially further superstar than I am. Now with Nick, you got to share. You got to share it a little bit because you guys are fucking both huge. I'm not.
Fucking huge.
You're gonna be in the limelight. You guys are. That's it. I'm the hoodie gang now. This is it.
Yeah, she gave me the okay to, she wants me to travel a little bit on prep here. So
yeah,
so I want to make a trip to Vegas, and I said I want to get away for a weekend and just go stay with Guy and have him train me for a few days. And I got more plenty of room here, bro. Fucking Casa Cisterino. I'm stealing your bedroom, so I'm staying in your bedroom, and you're going.
What are you fucking? You think you're MJ?
Yeah, that's right.
You ain't gonna MJ me, bro.
Taking it over.
Don't MJ me. That's why you got a spare bedroom. Fuck that. But no, seriously, Brett. I don't know how many people know, but I've known you for years now. Me and Brett are very, very close, and it's been a pleasure watching Brett come up the ranks and start doing his fucking thing, and to see him and his wife and his baby daughter, beautiful baby daughter that just got born last week is awesome. And congrats to you and Ivana. And me and Nick wish you guys nothing but the best, and we appreciate you coming on Mutant in the Mouth, and we hope to see more of Brett, Ivana, and the new addition in the next upcoming future, bro.
Hell yeah. You'll see her at the Olympia for sure.
What are you getting all fucking amped up about? Because we're about to end this. Is now?
He's gonna go eat.
Well, no, I'm happy for him and his kid, man. What the fuck?
Why are you gonna get all nasty? I'm just saying.
Because I'm allowed to be chipper.
You're chipper now. We've been on for 2 hours. Where was the chipperness an hour and a half ago?
Well, Brett was right. It's feeding time.
You're like a fucking child. All right, guys. Myself, my co-host, Nick Walker, and thanks for the man himself, Brett Wilkin, and our little, what is it called? Not a candid. Well, what's it when somebody makes like a little guest appearance, Ivana? What's it called? What's the word? Huh?
A guest appearance?
No, there's a word. No, a candid is like an in the moment.
Oh, I know.
A cameo. Ivana made her cameo. Her little cameo appearance. But no, in all seriousness, guys, listen, first, congrats to Brett and Ivana. Congrats to Ross this weekend. He looked fucking awesome. Congrats to all the competitors. Sergio, glad to have you back in the States, man, and glad to see that you're okay and you made it out of there alive. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know the next guest you guys want us to have on. Big shout out to Brett, and show him love on his page. Show him and Ivana some love. Say congrats on their newborn baby daughter. This is myself, Nick Walker, Brett Wilkin. We are out of here. Assalamu alaikum, guys.